to be able to say to a customer, hey, Hugh, it's good to see you, man. Thanks for coming in. How you been? How's your daughter? You know, just that personal level, people can connect with the business owners, and then they feel more invested into a friendship and less a business transaction.
Okay, welcome back to the Talk Midland podcast. My name is Logan Richetti with Modern Realty. Today I have Brandon Morey, and he's got a bunch of businesses, so I'm going to let him list out all the businesses, and we'll go through each one by one and have a little fun.
Yeah, sounds good. So we've got Crêpes Et Amis, which is our crepe shop downtown, Iron Dame, which is our little French pastry shop, and then we've got newly acquired Enjoy Bakery.
Rock and roll.
Yeah.
All right, let's start from the top here. Crepes, how do you say it?
Crêpes Et Amis, Crêpes Et Amis, tomato.
And what does that mean? Crepes and what is
Crêpes
it?
and Friends.
Crepes and Friends. Cool.
Yep.
Okay. And that's French?
Yep.
Cool. I've been there a few times. What did you create that brand, or did you buy it, or how did that come about?
Yeah, so we actually started out as a food truck. The first name we chose was Crepe, but it was CREP, dropped the E on the end, and it wasn't good. It wasn't good. No, people called it crap, the crap truck. So
That doesn't work.
So no, I had a business partner at the time, and he liked the idea of Crêpes and Friends. So we basically did a Google Translate thing, figured out Crêpes Et Amis, and that's how it came about.
And what are the core offerings there?
So crepes primarily. So at its core, it's a coffee shop. That's what we were going for. But then we found this niche with crepes. So we do crepes, omelets. We started doing pastries a few years ago, which kind of led into Iron Dame because we were like, oh, we can start a second business with this. And crepes, coffee, that's our big thing.
How do you make a crepe?
So we have special skillets that we use, and I slaughter the name. I don't know what it's called. It's like a crepe tea is what we call it. There's a French term for it. Mm-hmm. You basically pour the batter on the skillet, and then we twist it until it's a nice flat, almost like you know what a good name for it would be Frenchilada. That'd be like,
okay.
But so it's like a French, almost tortilla pancake kind of thing.
Real thin.
Thin, yep.
And what's in it? Like flour, water, egg?
Yep, flour, water, egg.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
butter.
Something sweet?
Yeah.
Is it sweet?
A little
too?
bit of sugar. Yeah. They're not, ours are real neutral, so they're not terribly sweet, but we have done some sweet ones before. We add a little bit of vanilla and make them a little bit sweeter.
All right. So do you eat the crepe on its own, or do you put things in it and roll it up, or how does it come out?
So you can do that. You can eat the crepe on its own if you want. What we do both savory and sweet crepes. So for instance, one of our most popular savory crepe, we call it the Wilbur Salutation. That's a crepe filled with eggs, bacon, cheddar cheese, spicy mayo that we make ourselves, and spinach and tomato. That's the one that everybody buys. And then the second most popular one is a dessert crepe. So we do the same thing, make the crepe, fill it with strawberries, cheesecake, and Nutella.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. So you're open for breakfast?
Breakfast and lunch, right? Well, actually, we're open till 7 now.
Okay.
So Monday through Saturday, 8 to 7, and then Sunday we're open from 10 to 4.
So before you opened the restaurant, you were doing it in a food truck.
Yeah.
What made you decide to start a food truck?
So my wife has always been the voice of reason. So it's funny. It was her idea to do the coffee shop, and then we were back and forth on how to do the coffee shop. So we decided let's find a niche. Let's have food so that we're not just another coffee shop. So we started with crepes, and then we knew we wanted to go somewhere with this. I was all about going brick and mortar right away, and she's like, "Well, why don't we just see if people even like this?" So we knew this sweet old lady. She had a hot dog cart, and so we bought her hot dog cart, gutted it, put crepe makers in it, and a fridge, and all that stuff. And we started at we were the first food truck at the Midland Farmers Market.
I was going to ask you that because I think I remember that.
Yeah.
And now there's several food trucks down there, yeah?
Yeah.
So you led the charge on that?
Well, they let me in.
That's cool. Yeah. So when did the food truck start?
2013. April of 2013 is when we got our DBA.
Okay. And when you went into the first week that you went in the farmer's market, how did it go? Was it a hit right away, or did it take time?
No, it was a hit right away. But we had we had electric crepe makers. So, we had to have a generator at the time because nothing was set up at the farmer's market for this. This is a totally new concept for them, and they were awesome and cool about it. But our generators were so loud that we violated a noise ordinance, so we had to rethink it. So we switched to gas, and they allowed us to run just an extension cord to power the fridge that we had.
Interesting.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Can you get a crepe anywhere else in town?
I think Bob Evans, maybe.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay,
I think so. Yeah.
Never seen that on the menu.
Yeah, I don't. Maybe they're not there anymore. I don't know.
But not much. Not a lot of options.
Right.
So it's a very unique offering in the
Yeah,
city.
yeah. I think there was a place in Auburn that was offering them. As far as I know, the nearest place is Frankenmuth. So, but they've been around longer than we were.
So I imagine it's hard to keep a restaurant going because you have to constantly get your customers to come back and come back and come back. Even if it's a nice treat or a nice tasting food item, how do you get people to come back again and again?
That's customer experience. The most important thing. So I always try to tell my staff this: if the customer has a good experience, the food tastes better. If they have a bad experience, they're going to start picking it apart. I can do this at home. So if we treat our customers with respect, if we're super helpful and super friendly, they're going to love it, But then the minute that they're like, I don't know about this person, or I don't know, I was treated bad, then they start picking everything apart. Then they start picking the whole place apart. And you could do that anywhere you go. Mm-hmm. So we want to make sure that everybody is treated, it's like they're a guest in our home. We want to make them feel welcome.
All right. If I've never been there before, what's the first item I should order?
Are you thinking savory or sweet?
Sweet.
Sweet. Oh, berry cheese crepe.
Okay.
All the way. Yeah. So like I said, it's fresh strawberries, Nutella, and cheesecake filling that we make ourselves. It's with no eggs.
And so you make that in the back, or you bring it off site and you bring it on?
So we have a prep kitchen in the basement with a walk-in cooler. So that's where primarily the prep is done. Upstairs we just store like everything that we need immediately. So because it's a small kitchen, you've probably been there. It's a 900 square foot space with a 200 square foot kitchen.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, you don't need much space because you walk in, you grab it, and either take it on the go or you eat out front, or there's a couple seats in there, but you don't need much. Yeah. It's more of a grab and go item, would you say?
Yeah. Cool. People are more than welcome to sit, but it's also great on the road.
Okay. What about savory if I'm in the mood for a lunch?
Ooh. So we have two options that I would definitely recommend. Edmond Dantes is the marriage of sweet and savory. So Edmond Dantes is the Count of Monte Cristo. It's our take on the Monte Cristo.
Cool.
So it's fresh made raspberry coulis that we make in-house. We actually make almost everything except for the raw ingredients, right? So ham, turkey, Swiss cheese, and a little bit of honey mustard that we put on it with those raspberry preserves.
Right.
So,
And a little powdered sugar on top, maybe?
A little powdered sugar on top.
Yeah.
That's the one I always go to, and that's why I'm
feeling good.
The behemoth I am today.
Well, speaking of bad choices, let's talk about the next venture that you set up, which was
Iron Dame.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is what is that exactly?
So that is a French-inspired pastry shop.
Okay.
So.
And where is that?
It's right next door.
Got it.
Yep.
Okay.
Right next door.
So if I'm feeling a little frisky and I need a little special treat, I go there. What do I get?
So we do sandwiches and French pastries. So our sandwiches are made on croissants. We do make our own focaccia. And then, of course, the pastries are what you want to do. We do savory pastries and sweet pastries. So I did bring that with us today. We have a raspberry pistachio croissant. So it's a twice-baked croissant. We take the croissant, cut it in half, put the pistachio frangipane in it, and then we take that same raspberry coulis that we use at Crêpes Et Amis, and we put it in there, bake it, and, oh, man, it's good. That's our top seller right now, yeah.
So why two storefronts instead of trying to combining the two ideas together into one?
So we thought about that. Originally, the idea was for Iron Dame to take over the name Crêpes Et Amis. So what I was thinking was scalability. We want this concept to be, we wanted the two stores to merge with the second location of Iron Dame. So Iron Dame, as it goes forward, would offer crepes, would offer coffee, would offer these French pastries and sandwiches. It's kind of like an all-in-one, one-stop shop for this French experience, cafe experience that you want. So,
yeah, I have a hard time trying to keep track of different brands and different concepts, different social media pages and presences and all these different things. So I think the idea of consolidation makes a lot of sense there.
Yeah, and that's if we do scale up, that's probably where we'll go. My wife and I have been back and forth on this. Like, do we start a second location? And we still want to work out the kink. We're a year and a half in with Iron Dame, so there's still some kinks to work out. One of the challenges that we found with Iron Dame was it's an extremely skilled product. Like laminating dough and working with the dough and knowing how to use yeast and getting your kitchen set to the right temperature, making sure that the humidity isn't. It's a huge challenge, and it was not one of those things that I could just teach somebody in one sitting to do. It took like months with our first round of hires, and then I was like, okay, I got to be smarter about this. I got to hire people who know what they're doing. So we actually partnered up with Escoffier School for Pastry Chefs, and we are a part of their externship. And their very first extern that they sent with us is now our chief executive chef. So she's coming up with all the recipes. She's doing all the croissants. She's training. She's just an absolute asset to the company.
Well, that was smart.
Yeah.
And so when you came up with the Iron Dame concept, you already had the crepes. How do you say it?
Crêpes Et Amis, Crêpes Et Amis. Yeah.
So this was an extension of that vision, or was it a separate vision?
Yeah. So it actually started out of necessity. If you've been to Crêpes Et Amis on a busy day, you know it can be like a 45-minute to an hour and a half wait. And I don't know who wants to wait that long. I mean, our customers do that because they're really patient and awesome. But we needed to get something in their hands in order to just to like give that immediate satisfaction.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where we had a pastry chef working for us, and he and I worked on some recipes. We came up with a base croissant recipe, and we started selling those, and then they were a hit. And then I was like, maybe this is something. Maybe we can do it. So we went back to the farmer's market. So we set up a little stand under Crêpes Et Amis' name about 5 years ago, just before COVID hit. And we were selling these just croissants and variations of these croissants. Then that took off, and then COVID hit, and we were like, okay, we got to this has got to be kind of shelved for a little bit. And then once COVID was over, we were back on board we're back at the farmer's market. We're selling these croissants here, and we're going to start building this brand. And that was when the name Iron Dame came to me, because it was, so the French have this affectionate name for the Eiffel Tower, La Dame de Fer, which translates to the Lady of Iron. So that's where we came up with the name. I was like, Iron Dame, I'm like an old skater from the early 2000s. So I was like, this is pure metal. I love this. So,
yeah, it's cool.
So that's what we went with. And there was also, we could call it the Iron Lady, but I mean, I'm not obsessed with Margaret Thatcher, so I wasn't about to do that.
All right. So you've had some help with designing some of these menu items. Are you a cook or a chef by nature?
So, no.
Interesting.
I mean, I've always been one of those guys, like if somebody else can do it, then I can do it. So that was, when we first started with this crepes concept, we started with a $20 skillet that we got from Meijer. And then I went and bought some dowel from Joanne Fabrics, screwed them together and made a tea. And I started making crepes for my friends. And so that was when my buddy was like, hey, this could be something great. Let's work together. Let's do this. So he and I, started working together, and yeah, it turned into this thing. The first concept that we had was just like basic sandwich ideas. So my whole theory was we can just make these crepes into any sandwich, like any sandwich that you have. So that's where the Monte Cristo comes in, because we could do, the ham and the turkey and the Swiss and do all that stuff. And then we had like even and a lot of those core items are still on there, like the caprese, well, it's like a salad, a caprese salad, but we turned it into a sandwich by adding turkey and stuff like that. So that was the whole shtick behind it. I mean, who can't make a sandwich, right? So at least that was easy enough for me. And then I did some research on the dessert options, which those are huge. I mean, like you can go in Paris, you can go to one of the crepe stands and get just a crepe with Nutella on it. And it's just as simple as that. And it's super good. So we wanted to kind of dive into that more. My actual background was in nursing. I started out as a nursing student. And then I was like, I'm done with this. So
that's a real job.
Yeah, I know.
Wow, that's wild.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So again, you went back to the same model of testing your hypothesis at the farmer's market. I assume that your wife had some input on that.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Hold on, cowboy. Let's see if it's good.
Yeah.
But you keep hitting home runs there. Did you have anything there that struck out a little bit?
No, not really. It was the wait times even then. back then because we had 2 gas crate makers in there. So that might have deterred people, but we would have lines all the way through the farmer's market. So the first year they had to figure out where to put us. We were in the grass the first year. And this is at the old farmer's market around the circle there or by the Tridge. So we were closer to the Tridge when we first started, and then the line would wrap well into the Pure Marquette Trail. And so they put us in the parking lot in the backside, but then they started getting more food trucks. So they had to like partition this piece off, this little lot for the food trucks to be. So that's where they put us. And then there were still lines that went well into the farmer's market.
So they're all cooked to order.
Yep, everything's cooked, fresh, made to order.
Yeah, you can't just make a stack of 20 of them and throw a plate on top and keep them warm.
Right. No, so we played around with that idea, and a lot of places in Paris do that. I was from the get-go, I wanted absolute quality as the first thing. So I wanted to make sure if we're going to do this, we're going to do it right. And I know it'll take a while. We'll figure that out as we go. But I want these to be as fresh as possible and quality first. And I think that has kind of led to our success, even though it does take a while. People know that they're getting a quality product.
So where does Enjoy Bakery fit into all this?
Enjoy Bakery. So the former owner, Kim, of Enjoy Bakery, she actually she made a career change. So she started working for Northwood, and I think it got to be a little bit too much to run. It's hard running a business, and then when you're working full time too. So she had approached me about it, and then we kind of hemmed and hawed on it. But I was like, yeah, I'd be happy to take it over. And one of the things that we came to the agreement was that I wasn't going to change anything fundamentally. I wanted to keep what they had going. So they put, and it was actually kind of emotional. They had put, her and her mother had put so much time, so much effort into this, and they built this awesome brand that people like. And I wasn't going to come in and steamroll everything and change it all to what I wanted it to. In fact, we added ice cream, but that was at Kim's blessing. She had suggested that we add ice cream. So I was like, well, we'll do that since you would have done it too. But yeah, we kept everything the way it was. The only thing I did was kind of digitize some of the systems just because I like having things on my phone and I can look at it and see, progress that way. But yeah, it was really cool. She came to me and I was happy to work with her. She's a great gal, great person to talk to too, if you've ever talked to her, Kim.
So where Enjoy Bakery is off of Saginaw Road?
Yeah, it's right in the circle.
Yeah.
So it's in that quarter of the circle. So
Wait, is that where it's always been, or did it recently move there?
So I think they've been there for the last 4 years.
Okay.
3 or 4 years. So they kind of started around COVID too. Her and her mom were working out of their house, and they started with the farmer's market, and then that scaled up. Kind of similar story to what we did. Started at the farmer's market, scaled up. I think they've always been in the circle. Maybe they were like behind. They were kind of operating out of that space next door to Sergey's a little bit, and then that space that they were in currently opened up, so they started renting it.
Okay, so that's obviously a retail space, but they do catering events or like birthday parties, or what does that model look like?
So they don't. It's just more custom cakes is what they do.
Oh,
yeah. So they do custom cakes, custom cookies, and it's more of a grab and go thing. So we're trying to convert it to more indoor seating and kind of the vibe without changing it substantially, right? But we put some picnic tables outside so that people can grab their stuff and sit. Especially with ice cream, people do want to sit down and enjoy it and watch their kids play and all that stuff. So that's kind of why we worked with that model. But she actually bought the picnic tables because that was her plan too. So I'm not changing things fundamentally. Again, it was just like working with what she was trying to accomplish before she left.
Well, how do you get more people to do more walking on the circle?
Well, the city's working on that.
Yes,
actually. Yeah, and we're pretty excited about that. I think in part more frontage. So people seeing that they can do that. That is a pretty good walkability. I was actually listening to the Max Loves Midland podcast with Grant Marshall, and he was talking about Midland's walkability score and how walkable even the circle is in that area where he's putting in Nord. So it got me to thinking like, yeah, how do we make this more walkable? Make it more comfortable for people to cross the street over there on Ashman? How would we do that? fortunately, there's professionals who know how to answer that question better than me. But to keep it walkable, I do think that cohesiveness with all the businesses in the circle might help with that. If they see that, we're all working together, we're all here for each other and we're all working together, people are going to be drawn to that, the camaraderie and that sense of community. So that's kind of what we're working with right now. I've already talked to Natalia, who owns, or she's one of the owners over at Sergey's. We're working with ideas. I've talked to Megan and Brett over at Boomerang, working with them. So great business owners there, love their models too. So we're just trying to work with them. Who knows, maybe we can start doing some events down there. There's a lot of that green space, maybe some picnics. Maybe we can provide blankets to people to have a picnic. Maybe they can go get a sandwich over at Sergey's and a cookie and get some coffee over at Boomerang and get a cookie with us and have a little picnic for their family or whatever. So we just encouraging kind of stuff like that. But really that sense of community within that area of the circle and the whole circle in general, I think is what's going to help us generate more foot traffic down there.
Well, a while ago, I interviewed Selena Harris on the show, and she talked about a couple of different options that they're looking at in terms of some different thoroughfare exchange changes and things like that. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there, what develops. But I think you should look at. It sounds like you are looking at the model from Jordan at the Midland Mall. He's done a lot of proactive outreach to bring people into their space for other purposes, and then obviously the vendors benefit from those.
Yep.
So I think that would be a good approach, figuring out ways to bring families, young families, into that space to draw them somehow, whether it be some kind of attraction or whatever. And then obviously the businesses there will benefit from that, from that foot traffic and get more exposure and be able to create an environment where, hey, you know what, on a Saturday, maybe I'll go out there and see what's going on and grab a cookie, grab a sandwich.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. That a little bit of that model actually worked with us on Townsend Street with the businesses down there. Cause now on Townsend, we have a lot of people who will get their phone or tablet worked on at Mr. Mustache and they'll come and wait with us. They'll come in, get a coffee with us or whatever. Same thing. You can get a book at Bookmarks and come and sit and read it with a cup of coffee at one of the two shops that we have. So that cohesiveness really does, I do believe, attract especially families and people who are coming into Midland. Something, I talk about this all the time, but Midland's awesome. It's like you got that small town feel, but big city vibes. So it's like to capture that a little bit, but also make people feel comfortable is one of those key things that will help kind of drive that.
Well, what else drives it? How do you get people to know about your place, and how do you get them to walk in the door the first time?
Yeah, so good old fashioned marketing, right? Gotta let people know where we're at. Social media has been huge, especially when now people are sharing our videos and stuff like that. And so one thing that we've had a little bit of a measure of success is the videos that I've been doing where I'm like a sarcastic, fun, snarky guy a little bit. So just ask my wife, but
she might describe you differently.
Yeah, like that guy's a pain in the butt. But so I do these videos that are just like quotes, or not quotes, but facts, facts about pastries and stuff. And I found this template that I like, and it kind of does showcase a little bit of my personality, but I think it humanizes the product that we have. So it's people know that there are real people behind this storefront, and it's, these small business owners are actual real people, and they're trying and they're relatable. And I think when people feel invested on the human level with a product that you have, that they're more likely to engage with you on social media or just come and buy your products and talk with you. I try to talk to as many customers as I possibly can to just develop a relationship. And one of the things I pride myself on is remembering people's names, which is getting harder and harder. But to be able to say to a customer, "Hey, Hugh, it's good to see you, man. Thanks for coming in. How you been? How's your daughter?" Just that personal level, people can connect with the business owners, and then they feel more invested into a friendship and less a business transaction.
Well, let's talk about that. Let's shift to organizational infrastructure a little bit. You have 3 small businesses that you're owning and running and operating. You have to order supplies from all 3. You have to create menu items. You have to create standard procedures. You have to have payroll capabilities, scheduling of employees. You have to have systems for cleaning things up and opening and closing and all the different things. Not to mention, accounting and things like that. So how do you zoom out and handle 3 distinct businesses that are all similar model, similar, industry, but different in terms of how you deliver services and goods? How do you do that?
Yeah. So you mentioned systems in there, and that's the number one thing. Systems put in place that will succeed beyond the person that's with them, right? So we have managers who they do the scheduling, they order the food, and so I'll give them the budgets, and they work within the budgets that I give them. Also, being 10 years in, we have a pretty good idea of what our sales are going to be, and we always plan on doing 5 to 10% more every year, and sometimes that doesn't always pan out, but then if we're overstaffed, we have a system in place for that too. So really giving your staff the tools that they need to succeed, not only makes their job easier, but it also gives them a sense of ownership with the job. Like, this is what I'm doing and I'm happy to do it. So having managers in place. So I have three, I guess we could call them, well, they're just they're managing, and they run all that day-to-day stuff. Sometimes they have to run and go shopping, so they'll go shopping for us. They order through our distributors who give us food and stuff. They know the procedures for that, and they now know how to look at the sales from the week before and project from the year before also what the sales might be, so that we create a formula for them to be able to understand what the budget is, so that they don't go over budget. So
each one of these are separate entities?
Yep. 3 LLCs.
Different distributors?
Same distributor.
One distributor. Okay. Yeah. Different payroll platforms or one big one?
So it's different payroll platforms.
So you got them all. You got them really segregated.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
So
3 QuickBooks accounts and everything.
Yeah. So my wife does the books for us.
Cool.
And so with Square, we use Square point of sale system, and this is really nice. This is where digitizing and getting your systems on a digital platform really helps. So Square does our payroll for us. It's also our point of sale. So when they do tips, all of that goes through Square. So their tips are calculated automatically, and the way we do tips, my staff can see what their tips were in real time.
Cool.
So they don't have to wait till the end of the pay period to see them or anything like that. And then it just pulls straight from our account. So we can, they can see what they're going to get paid the minute I run payroll. And payroll has gotten so easy. I remember it used to take me a half hour to do payroll for Crêpes Et Amis alone. And I was like, this is ridiculous. This is too much. And I hated doing payroll. But now it's just a button. Boop.
Cool.
Yeah, so I just check for mistakes, and sometimes they slip through, but my staff will let me know.
So you got one manager on staff pretty much every day?
Yeah. Supervisors underneath of them. So if because my managers can't work 7 days a week. So they work their shifts, and then there are people to supervise underneath of them. And their role is to put people where they need to be for the shift that they're working, so that, and that's the beauty of it. And when we figured out our systems, and I will say it took us like 7 years to figure out systems at Crêpes Et Amis. When we figured out systems, it was almost a cookie cutter, like, okay, well, we can apply this. There's nuance to each business, but
structurally it's the same.
Yeah, structurally it's the same. It's like, this is how you order, this is how you staff, this is what you do. So
manager on top, supervisor directly reporting there, then the ground level troops. Answer to the supervisor, who answers to the manager. Manager's on site most of the time, but the supervisor supplements when he or she isn't.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then the troopers, they know what to do because they've been trained, and they're the ones grinding it out every day and doing the delivery of the service. But that way, at least there's a couple of levels. There's a couple of levels of hierarchy, so that you can manage the managers can manage the supervisors can deliver the service.
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting. And I assume that once you've built one business like that, you can go into another business with this. It's still food delivery, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's still retail food sales.
Right.
I think they Enjoy Bakery maybe a little different because there's more custom ordering. Maybe you have to intake orders ahead of time. You have to deliver and fulfill those. Is that right?
So that was the beauty of that, though. They already figured it out.
Okay.
So when I came in, I just, like I said, all I did was digitize their systems. So we use this program where I can create a document, and then it's on their phone. So when they come in, they clock in, then they can look at their checklist of what they need to do today. Then they sign that checklist that they did it, and it sends an email back to me, or it sends a message back to the manager saying that it was done. So we just took all of those systems that they already had in place, and we just basically put them into that program.
What program is that?
Connect Team.
Okay. So you're using that with Just Enjoy, or using them?
I use it with all three.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay. So every day you create a list of instructions for the day at each of the three places?
I don't do it anymore. My managers are doing it. Yeah.
Cool.
So
You have a weekly meeting with those?
yep.
Individually or
Monday.
together?
Yeah. So at on Townsend Street, I meet with the two managers, and because that's we share ordering and stuff like that. So it's
Because eventually that might come like this.
Right. So we're just, with that, they always meet with me every Monday at 10 o'clock. And then I meet with the manager over at Enjoy Bakery at 11 o'clock after that.
So tell me about the crowdfunding campaign. What's the story there?
Yeah, so that's exciting. My Pros puts on a crowdfund every year, and this is the big one. It's the biggest one that they've done. So basically, My Pros is an organization. They're like a subset of the Midland Business Alliance. And they do this crowdfunding campaign where the community foundation matches the funds. They give those funds to the Midland Business Alliance, and so it's in conjunction with those two. So this year we're challenged with raising $25,000 to get a $35,000 match from the community foundation and Midland Business Alliance. So they did it a little different this year. We applied for it in years last year, didn't get it. You go before a panel of people and you pitch your idea to them, and then they say, we decided to pick you or not. This year they did it different though. They picked 3 finalists and had My Pros members vote them in. So we were up against some heavy hitters. There was a ice cream shop out in Sanford, and Live Oak was another one of the contestants, and then me. So I was like, oh, there's no way I'm getting this. They had these awesome pitches.
But you won it?
But I won it, yep.
So what does that mean?
So that means that we're calling it the Downtownsend Terrace project. So my whole thing was I don't just want my storefronts to benefit from this. I want my neighbors to benefit from it too. So, a few years ago we had the streetscape, and that looks great. And so what we have on Townsend is just these really nice lights. But the streetscape budget it ended on Main Street. So we want to be a little bit more cohesive with Main Street. We want people to know that we're still an active, awesome street on Townsend. So what that means is we want to put flowers on the street. We want to have these flower boxes. So what we're trying to do is build these pergolas for people to eat outside at my storefronts. And then as built into the pergolas are these flower boxes. And those flower boxes continue past the pergolas all the way down the street in front of the other storefronts. On the back of those pergolas are benches to sit on. So if you want to get a book at Bookmarks, you can go buy a book and read it right outside of Bookmarks. If you want to get your phone worked on, you can go get your phone worked on and sit outside of Mr. Mustache and have your phone worked on. You want a cup of coffee, you can sit outside of Iron Dame or Crêpes Et Amis. And on top of it, this is the real cool part. We're adding that cafe culture, that vibe to Midland. We're adding a Lovelock fence to it. So that's going to be built in too. And I think that's the most exciting thing for me. When you go to Paris, you cross over the Seine Bridge or the bridges over the Seine River. You'll see these locks everywhere. Basically, people are confessing their undying love to one another. So what they do is, they buy these locks, sign their name on them, lock them to the fence that goes over the river, and then they throw the key in the river. So we're trying to capture that here on our little street. So we're going to line the street with these fences too to make it. Oh yeah, there's the rendering right there.
Oh, that's beautiful.
But yeah.
So do we need to raise money for this to happen?
Yep. So at the time of this show, I think we're at about 7,500, and so we have till August 31st to raise the 25,000.
Yikes!
And there's some cool prizes though, like cool incentives. At the $25 level, we'll get a sticker and a cup of coffee. At the $50 level, it's a mug and a sticker and a cup of coffee. And then $100 level, hoodie. $250, you get a custom Lovelock with your name engraved on it, and that's going to go on the Lovelock wall. And my vision with that is that when we do the ribbon cutting ceremony for this, everybody that contributed at that level puts their Lovelock ceremoniously on the wall. So, and then we'll cover it with plastic or glass or whatever to partition it off. And then $500, you get a crepe and 6 pastries every month for a year. And then $1,000 is like an intimate night with cocktails and some of the best our chefs have to offer just for you and 3 other people.
All right. So if I want to make a donation on this crowdfund, where do I go?
So if you go to MyPros, the MyPros website or the Midland Business Alliance website, they're going to give you links to the crowdfunding that we're going through. It's Patronicity. So, and then you'll see all of the tiers, and then you'll have all the options there. But there will be links there. We also have a link on our Instagram. If you want to go to our Instagram, at Iron Dame or Crêpes Et Amis.
All right. So easiest way to do it for most of us listening is just to hop on Instagram, follow Crêpes Et Amis. Did I say it right?
Yeah.
Close enough. Or Iron Dame on Instagram, and then I'm sure in the profiles there you can get the links to make a donation. So go make a donation. This looks pretty cool. So, as a guy who owns several businesses, probably too many, I have to ask you: when you picked up Enjoy Bakery, did that disrupt your focus from growing Iron Dame? Or
yeah, absolutely.
So what was the benefit of doing that? And what would have been the drawbacks or the downsides, I guess?
So the downside, actually, my staff came to me a couple weeks ago, and they're like, "Hey, we do feel like we're being neglected." Yeah. I mean, truth be told. So it did make me have to kind of stop and like, I have to organize my time a little bit better than what I am doing. And my wife's been telling me that for years. But yeah, so I had to kind of take a step back. But with that conversation, they told me they wanted more involvement. So it was like interesting. They want to own this a little bit more. I'm used to like people just wanting to work for me and then they check out. And I've always had this philosophy, like, you know, you don't live to work to live. So, and I know that I'm more invested in my businesses than everybody else. So I just assumed that that's how they felt. And so it was kind of it was an eye-opening moment when they were like, "Hey, we want to own this a little bit more. We want to support this. This is my career. This is what I'm trying to do. And we see the value in putting more into this. So if you just give us what we need, at least give us more resources so that we can do our job to promote this." So when they came to me and said that, I was like, "Oh my gosh, wow, this is awesome." You know, just feeling like people wanted that and to be a part of that. And it's kind of, I think that's every business owner's dream, is to have your staff like own it that much. So, and then I talked to everybody else and they all felt the same way. All the managers felt the same way. So I do have to prioritize my time a little bit better, make sure that I'm balanced in because I have a family too. So I got to make sure that I'm prioritizing my family first and then these businesses, and making sure that the people that work for me have what they need to do their job. Because, you know, being that it's a startup with Iron Dame, still budgets are tight there. So they get frustrated when I'm like, "Well, we can't do that. That's not in the budget." And so I've got this executive chef who is really trying to like, I want to try new things. And finally I was like, you know, let's just do what you want. Like, let's do what we got to do.
Give it a shot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have to empower.
Yeah, that's it. Empowering them.
Yeah. And a lot of times they got better ideas anyway. So
yeah, I'm the dumbest person that works for me.
Well, all right. So what's the vision for the future?
We're hoping to expand Iron Dame operations. It'd be nice to see a second location somewhere with that vision of including the crepes into the mix. So this a second location with pastries, with sandwiches, with crepes, you know, things like that. With Enjoy, we're hoping to start I've got another business idea that I'm really trying to start. So we're looking at maybe doing donuts. So
would that be a separate business or just a new menu offering?
So that would be a separate business. So
goodness gracious.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. Maybe
I should talk to your wife and slow you down. Well, you know, if you think about it, I guess, you know, my standard answer would be like, "Well, you're way too wide, doing too many things."
Yeah.
But in theory, you're delivering a food products in a retail setting in Midland. I mean, it's not that much different. It's just a different brand each time. And so you're kind of touching different parts of the food, you know, gamut, if you will, mostly skewed toward desserts and special pastries and things like that. But why not add donuts to Enjoy or add donuts to Iron Dame? Why a new brand, I guess?
So one thing I found is that niche that we have has led to the success of each brand. Okay. So even with the second location for Iron Dame, we're still keeping it French. So with donuts and stuff, we get asked about donuts all the time at Iron Dame, by the way. And I just, that to me is like a different product than what we offer. We offer authentic French pastries that we make, you know, in-house. And the same with Enjoy. They had teamed up with a donut shop that they were selling their, they were subcontracting out, selling out their, wholesaling out their donuts. And to me, I'm like, I look at Enjoy and it's a custom cake shop. It's an ice cream shop. She calls it a sweets boutique, which is what it is. Donuts are sweet, but also donuts are breakfasty. Donuts are like where a couple dudes in their 80s want to go to a donut shop, sit down, sip coffee, and just enjoy the morning talking to each other. So, and that's not what Enjoy Bakery is. So that's where this other concept comes in.
Got it.
Yeah.
So the other concept will probably take more retail location space then.
The way we have it set up, it could be shared space. The kitchen could be shared with Enjoy. So we're thinking maybe next door. Okay. There's a whole empty space that we're renting. So
that makes more sense too, because I was going to say that's a low ticket item. You have to sell a high volume of those to be able to just to sustain your rent, and your payroll, and your materials, and the loan on the build out or whatever. People have no idea what it takes. Just to break
it's crazy.
Even,
huh? Yeah, and we've been fortunate enough to not have to dump a ton of money into these projects, but that comes with its drawbacks because then I'm doing a lot of the building. Like when we first started the crepe shop, Crêpes Et Amis, my father-in-law and my father and I were the ones in there building the walls, building the stands, building I built the bench that's there, that 16-foot bench. I built that because I couldn't stomach paying $16,000 for a custom one, so I built it for $200. You know what I mean? So it was like I've done a lot of the work myself, but that takes my time. Yeah, and it takes my time to maintain those things that I built. So it's like I'm learning now as I get older that it's just better to pay for these things to be done because then I do have my time to do that part of my job, which is the more promotional as it goes. As I'm seeing it evolve, it's more the promotional aspect of these businesses to drive revenue into these businesses. So if I take time away from that to be building stuff, then I'm losing business.
Well, what you should do is you should go through the phone book and find the old Hamiltons.
Yeah.
Okay, and bring that back.
Yeah, right?
I will guarantee you success because I will make sure of it personally. For people who don't know, Hamilton's was a donut shop that was in the location now where the big condos are downtown, the Shaheen's built. Yeah. And it's gone now. There was Almas and More, I think, was there.
Yep, Almas and More was there.
I have very vague memories. This is about 10, 15 years ago now, I think, is roughly when they knocked it down and built the new structure there. But Hamilton's was so good. You remember that?
Yeah. So I never personally I actually moved to Midland back in 2015. So I think Hamilton's was gone by the time
but everybody knows about it.
But even me. Like I hear about Hamilton's all the time. So that is the business model that people want. You're not the first person for me to hear this from. Like, do what they did.
Well, I just remember when they closed. I mean, I can't think of too many places to get donuts now that isn't Dunkin' Donuts, Tim Hortons, which those are all fine. Those are all owned by people here, I think. But there's not a lot of true small business mom and pop donut shops. Yeah. Can you think of any?
Not that I can think of.
Yeah. I mean, you can go to.
Well, no, Grove Tea does donuts.
Okay, there's one. Yeah, there's one. Yep, you're right. You're right. Yeah, and they got good treats there.
Yeah, they got great stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, but there's not a lot.
Right.
Is the point. And they were just so good. I remember those just the bags smell good. You open the bag, you smell everything. Oh man.
Fresh donuts.
All right, do it. Do donuts. Do everything else. Double it. Do everything. If anybody wants to learn more about you and all your businesses, where would you send them?
So 3 websites. Honestly, social media, you can learn so much more about us than anything. So we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook. I tried TikTok for a little bit with Iron Dame, and it's hard keeping up with all that stuff. But I have a very niche market even on TikTok. Like it's not showcasing our products, and I think that's probably where I failed a little bit. It was more just me and the camera, and people are like, "This is a bakery, but this dude just keeps talking, he keeps yapping." So it's like, but our websites, irondame.com, crepesandme.com, enjoybakerymidland.com if you want to go there.
Brandon Morey, thanks for being on the Talk Midland podcast.
Thank you.